video call. This is our 12th session with our Jersey Giant family, and we are really, really happy that we have a special guest who can join us today that I've known for quite so many years. It just means I'm old. But I want to introduce you to Neil Ioviero, who is the head coach at Kane University. He is the national champion coach from 2007 and has made it to the World Series on 6 occasions. He's been at Kane University. I want to say this is probably year 24 coming in right now, so he can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But we want to welcome him. We're going to have some fun talking some baseball, picking his brain, and just enjoying another good afternoon of baseball. So, Neil, hope things are well, and go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, no, guys, thanks for having me. We're all going stir crazy and getting cabin fever, obviously, from being inside and not being able to play. But, we're all trying to do whatever we can do to stay active and stay in shape. And, hopefully soon we'll all be back at it again. We're praying to the man upstairs to get this fixed as quick as possible. So.
Coach, I've been fortunate to have this opportunity here to stay connected with a lot of our guys, or all our Jersey Giant players. We have over 70 now in the organization. So this has helped me. Are there some ways you guys have been staying connected with your, college players that you have?
Yeah, for us, it was probably a little different than the rest of the guys on this call in terms of we were in the middle of our season. We had 10 games in at the time. So we were just about to take our trip to Florida. And 2 days before they canceled the trip because of, all the stuff that was going on. And then our team had to go through a day or two of just kind of getting over that. And then we were able to get the games back quickly. We put our 6 games that we had in Florida back home. And we were all set to go. We practiced for about a week. We had good energy, good pace, good tempo, all that stuff. And then we were actually on our way to a game in Pennsylvania going to play it. And we were told before that we were allowed to keep playing as long as we played at home and didn't stay overnight any place. And it was wild. As I was driving with the team on the bus, we just kept getting canceled by everybody else that we were playing that was coming up. So I think we had like 10 games in an 8-day period or something like that. And everyone was canceling us. So we got good news that we were still able to play, but then they were starting to cancel us. And then we played the game, and that was the same night when the NBA canceled their season. So as soon as we got on the bus, we were going to stop and eat. And all these cancellations were taking place. And then we knew we were probably in for it at that point. But we were 10 games in. We were doing really well. It was going to be a real big year for us. But we have a saying. One of our sayings that's in our locker room is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's called "Arrange the pieces to go your way." So basically, whatever pieces are thrown at you in life, just keep arranging them to make them go your way. So we're just going to have to arrange these and take a little break, and then we'll get back at it again and get after it.
Coach, you have a fall coming up, obviously. We all want to be back on the field. These guys want to be back as soon as they can. You'll start in September, right? When do guys usually arrive for you to start their fall semester?
Using it as a barometer, Labor Day weekend, obviously that's Labor Day's on a Monday. We usually start our first practice the Saturday after that. We'd like to give them a couple of days to get acclimated with their classes, the campus, their schedule, and then we'll have an eligibility meeting, and we usually start the Saturday after Labor Day. That's our time.
Okay, very good. Now, do you have, whether it be coaching staff, academic staff, support staff, seniors in the program, what do you guys do for the incoming freshmen before the first day of practice? Like, how do they get to know guys that are their future teammates?
Well, you hope on some of their visits when they come up through the course of the year that you have them meeting some guys. And to be honest, there's a lot of kids that come up that will know, a good amount of kids on the team that they played against or played with at some point in their life. And then, we have a support staff. We have a compliance person. We have academic advisors. We have our advisors within the school, and they meet with those guys to go over their schedule and to get everything organized. And obviously the coaches are assisting in all this. And then, we have our first meeting that Thursday before we start on a Saturday. So we'll have our first meeting on a Thursday. and they've already moved in for almost a week at that point. So you try to put all the freshmen together in the same room, and if there's a second or third room, they're kind of next to each other. So they come in already after those 4 or 5 days having a good contact with those freshman class, and it doesn't take very long to get acclimated. One of the scariest things as a young kid coming out of high school is you just think it's going to take such a long time to get acclimated and to get make friends and to feel part of something. And honestly, if you're with the right place that creates the right culture, that almost happens immediately. Within a couple of days, you'll feel like you've been there, your whole life at that point. It's pretty cool.
You use the word culture, the right culture, for your baseball program, for your student athletes. That culture obviously is created by, you as the guy on top, as the head coach, and you've been there for a good amount of years, and you have a great tradition within Kane baseball. And obviously, not to use the word expect, but it probably goes hand in hand that the players who've been around for a few years, 3-4 years, the seniors, the juniors, how do they handle that, the culture? Is it something that they hand down to the next guy? How do they bring those young guys in to learn that culture?
Well, I truly believe there's no better way than leading by example. So words are just words, and anybody could say the words, but when you're leading on a daily basis by example, then that's a very effective way to get people on board. So I actually try to do things a little bit differently because a lot of times you'll hear stories when kids go in and they're freshmen. It was the hardest year of their life, and the upperclassmen made it tough for them, and the coaching staff, and on and on. I'm actually the complete opposite. I put a lot of pressure on our upperclassmen, and the reason is they know better. They know better than the kids that are just coming in. They're in a different environment. They're away from home. They're with different friends. It takes them a little bit a time to just to get acclimated, and they don't know what's ahead of them where the other guys do. So I want that pressure on the older kids that are leading by example, explaining to them what has to be done, showing them things, explaining things to them. And the beauty of our place is, I believe, because no one's ever treated them like that when they were young, that no one really gets treated differently. Like, we will never say the term freshmen do this or seniors do that. It's all one unit. So my seniors will have more, pressure on them compared to anyone else because they know better. They've been through the battles with us, and they're the ones that have to set the tone in terms of leadership, in terms of guidance, in terms of work ethic. And obviously our staff is leading the way with that also. So, when you got a culture, it's what those expectations are from the day you walk in to the day that you leave. And even our alumni, I mean, they know what the explanation is. I mean, if we win a big game or we lose a tough game, like, they know exactly what we're feeling, and the highs and the lows. So that's been creative, by just doing it for so many years and just believing in it.
Let me take us off the baseball field for a minute. And we've been asking the different guests what they've been doing at home during this time. Like, what might be something fun? We've asked them all different things. What's their maybe comfort food, something they're doing a little different? Are they learning something new in their life? What are they doing different with their kids? Anything that might be going on now, because everybody's pretty much stuck at home, stay at home, shelter at home, whatever we want to use. So how about you, Coach?
Specifically, what am I doing? You're asking that's what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. So sports is a very big part of my life. It has been since I've been a little kid. I when I have a ball in my hand, basketball, football, baseball, it doesn't matter. I can sit there all day and just, be occupied. And I have these twins. I have boy-girl twins that just turned 6, and I've always been able to do stuff with them, whether it's play catch in the house or doing stuff outside. But quite frankly, this time of year, I wouldn't have a lot of time with them. I would see them to put them to bed, maybe, 8:00, 8:30 at night when I go home, and then take them to school, and then maybe do something on Sundays when I'm off. But because this has happened, we kind of have had this routine where, we get up, I do my workout that I have to do. My wife's doing their homework with them from school. And then I've been just taking them out day after day and just,
Coach Billy, he muted by accident.
You hear me?
Yep, you just came back
Okay.
on. Just went off for a couple
Okay.
seconds.
Yeah, so we ride the scooters, we take batting practice, we put the gloves on, we start throwing, we start catching the ball.
There it goes again.
I'm not sure why I hit unmute on him, and it's not unmuting.
Nothing ever happened between us.
Try it again.
Just got under my skin, I guess.
No, it's not doing it.
Abusive mother, abusive father.
Being able to. Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. It went in and out. It's just muting.
Okay. So they just got so good so quick, and it just goes to show at any level, if you work at it and you repeat it and you do it correctly. Coach Blackwell knows some of this stuff. I sent him a video of my kids hitting the other day. I thought he thought it was pretty cool, but I'm just shocked at the progression even at this age. It just goes to show if you keep working at something, how good you can get at it pretty quick. So that's been our routine the whole 6 weeks so far.
I'm really glad you just said, especially the word routine, and number one, enjoyment with your family and however that can happen is important, because we know right now, everybody's seeing their family probably for most a whole lot too much. Like everyone's driving each other nuts. But to have some fun, that's the best part of the day. And then everybody gets a little bit of time to themselves. But the word routine is so important in athletics. And, just for us, in baseball, there are guys who they create their own routine. They are guys who understand that it's time for me to work. They don't need a friend. They don't need a dad, a mom. They don't need somebody to push them. They create their own routine, and you've been around a lot of very, very good high-level baseball players. And, you've watched these guys, whether they learned the routine from being in your program, being around whatever programs they may, or they create their own routine. So I know for all you guys on the call, that's an important thing that should be going on now, because if you're sitting at home and you're bored for quite some time, you better start creating some more routines that even if it's in a 10-foot area in your bedroom, that you can work on your feet, work on your hands, do something to get a little bit better. Coach, I want to ask you a little bit more. We'll go back to the fall right now. You talked a little bit about the first day of practice and the freshmen come in, and how many days a week do you usually practice in the fall? Whether it be a Saturday to a Friday in 1 week, or how many days you kind of get in?
Well, everyone has different rules that we're allowed to use. So we get a number of weeks that we're allowed to use throughout the year. And I want to use the maximum weeks I can in the spring, because you guys on this call, you get burnt out. I mean, let's face it, you played high school, then you play all summer, then you go in and playing in the fall, then you're taking a short break, then you're starting with your sessions inside with your coaches, and it's just nonstop play. So I understand that the body gets burnt out and the kids' minds, they got to get away from it a little bit. And I'd rather have that time be in the fall versus the spring. I want to use the maximum time in the spring. And honestly, it's all about pitching. So it's about getting these pitchers ready. So it's not like high school where we're going to practice for 6 or 7 days and we're going to ask you to pitch right away. We're going 4.5 weeks before we actually play. So I have to build these weeks into the spring, and I make the spring longer, but I have to make the fall shorter. So sometimes we'll go only 3 weeks, and it comes out to maybe 12 practices, and it's just enough to get going. And what I'm really looking for, honestly, is I'm looking for team chemistry. I'm looking for you guys to understand what the coaches mean and our teaching methods and what we're expecting of you. I want a culture created in those 3 weeks. And my main goal is to get you out of that fall healthy so we can get started with our off-season program, our weight training, our speed stuff, our arm care, our velocity, all those types of things that go on in the off season. That's important. But once we get done with that fall, after that 3 or 4 weeks, then the rest of the time is nothing but conditionings, study halls, team meetings, and things like that. And so you've had a good amount of break, a good amount of time to have a break at that point in terms of baseball activity. And obviously, if you want, the cages are always open. You could hit and throw and all those kind of things on your own. But when December rolls around, then we start, basically getting them ready with a long toss program. The pitchers get that, and we just, they come back in January. right around Martin Luther King weekend, and we just get after it really hard for the next 4.5 months. So the fall has its purpose, and that's our purpose when we're doing our fall, is to just get them acclimated, get them used to doing everything they're supposed to do, understand the pace. The biggest problem that you guys are going to face, in my opinion, is imagine going as fast as you can when you do something. So the object is to go fast, but don't rush. So if you were going to run as fast as you possibly can, you almost might topple over. You're running so fast. So there's got to be a point when you're running as fast as you can, but you're still under control. So if you look at a high level player, they make it look easy. They're going really quick and really fast, but they're still under control with their body. So in a college pace, the pace is much different because we have guys that are moving all the time. So the only discrepancy with any new guy, it could be a transfer or anything, is the pace of practice is just nonstop. So there's not many, you get a quick water break, it's right back at it. It's constant movement. And a lot of times they're not in shape because it's really hard to explain this without you going through it. And so that's a big deal, is to get them through that pace of practice where we just did this drill for 20 minutes and now we get into this drill and your concentration's got to be there. You got to have energy, you got to have movement. And then now we're going to the next thing. And we're not just sitting around and just talking and walk. It's constant movement. And that pace of play is got to be kept up with. So that's hard for them to get right out of the gate.
Neil, I want to talk a little bit about team chemistry and some of the things that have gone on for you that creates great team chemistry. And I'm not using the right word if I say a motto or a certain thing, but I'll take back to some of the ones I know. You had an Army helmet, you had a gas can, those kind of things. And when that actually happens, and explain what I'm actually saying to these guys, but when do you guys pick that in the fall? Do you pick it in the winter before the season starts for spring? And that's your theme of the season, how those things may work as far as that, because that really does bring the team chemistry together. And I've seen it firsthand with your program. It really works.
I mean, I'll answer that question, and I'd like to go a little bit deeper if it's okay, just to give you an idea of what I think is important. Okay, when you come on a visit, the very first question I'm going to ask you in front of your parents or whoever happens to be there, it's a very simple question, is I'd like to know an answer, and the answer cannot be playing the major leagues. So you can give me any answer you want except playing the major leagues. You're going to get up and go to work every single day for the next 30 to 35 years. What is your passion? Okay. And I can't tell you how many times I sit there, and not only can the kid not answer the question, but neither can the parents. It's a very intimidating question to ask and to get an answer with from a kid that's 16 or 17 or 18 years old, because what I'm asking you to do is paint a picture of how you want your life to be, while you're playing, when you're done, your career, the whole 9 yards. So then we ask a question. We'll say, okay, every job in the whole world pays $20,000. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, teacher, whatever it is. What job would you pick? Because that's how you start to find out what your passion is. So when you have a passion for something, it's very easy to make it feel like it's not work. Okay. If you're dragging and lethargic and you're constantly looking at the watch and it's boring and it's not motivating to you, then you're just going to go through that with those kind of actions on a daily basis. So obviously everyone wants to play in the major leagues. So that's why I don't let them give me that answer. So when you figure out your passions in life, that's going to make everything better. So if you could think of your hobbies, okay? I was trying to explain this to my little kids, like everyone, like one wants to be an artist and the other wants to be a scientist, and they're only 6. And I say, well, what are your hobbies going to be? And they don't know what that is. And I'm like, you can pick a lot of things in life that you like. It doesn't have to just be one thing. So whatever that job field that you're going to go into is, okay, that's why you're going to college. In the long run, it's about getting your college degree to set up your life how you choose to set it up for the rest of your life. That's all college is. You started it, you finished it, and you're going in a direction of what you want to do rather than someone maybe just forcing you to take a job or doing something you don't want to do. So when you get that part established, okay, let's say we get to the baseball part, I have to assume that if you're sitting in front of me or you're playing on these teams and doing stuff, that you have a real passion for the game. And a lot of times we find out that a lot of kids don't have this passion. So you have to determine how much passion and love and desire and commitment that you have to doing what you're doing, and then it won't feel like work anymore. Okay, so like for me, it could be 10 o'clock at night. If someone was to put the lights on in my yard and say, you want to play a one-on-one basketball game, I would jump right up and play. There's nothing with a ball that I don't like to do. And that's just me. It doesn't have to be, there's no right or wrong answer on what your passions are. So when you have baseball as a passion, I don't believe that you as the player should need a constant motivation on a daily basis. Okay, your toughest critic should be yourself, because you should know at the end of the day, did I give that max effort or did I not? And you know inside your heart, because baseball is a game you can kind of take off, right? During batting practice, your mind can wander a little bit. You're in center field, or you're shagging, or you're at shortstop. The coach can't see, 35 kids and be in their mind and see what they're doing. So you can get these little breaks, but you focused in on every pitch that guy throws, and you're getting your ready positions off the bat, and you're going to every ball hard and reading it like it's game like. Those take special players, that really have a passion for what they're doing. So I don't like motivate. Like, we're not going to have quotes that we read to you every single day. Guys, we really want you to practice. We expect this, and I'm going to lead myself by having this energy. And Coach Black. This is not about Coach Blackwell, but if you're around him, the man doesn't stop. Like, I've been around him a long, long time. He's got energy through the roof. Either you keep up with that and you're giving the energy off, or you're sucking it away from the group. So you're an energy giver or an energy sucker away from the group. And we want guys that provide that energy. Okay. So Coach asked me about the props and things that we do. Now, we have signs in our locker room, and the team will know what these signs mean. If you want me to go through what they are, you could ask me at the end of this, and I'll go through them. But they're supposed to be reminders, basically, of what we're working for and what we're doing and how I want you to think and things I think that are important for you to think about, on and on. So each year we try to come up with a theme that allows you to just kind of focus on a theme. And when stuff gets rough out there and the pressure's on, it can kind of get your mind to relax and get you to kind of have fun and, be calm in a moment that's really pressurized. So one year, when we won the World Series, in 2007, we were questioning the next year. Do we have, these guys have desire to go back and do it again? Do you guys have enough, gas in the tank to keep it going? And so we got a gas can, and they would fill the gas can up with like Gatorade. It was a brand new gas can, guys. All right. Don't take one out of your garage. I had to go to Lowe's and get it. So we would fill it up with Gatorade, and we would, like, everyone put their stickers, on the Gatorade can, and like they would make a magic potion before a game, and like all this concoction of like, Tabasco sauce and, Gatorade and all this other stuff. And like they would, drink out of it or pretend to drink out of it. And that was fueling them and getting them going. So that was one of our themes one year. One year we had, we're trained for the mission. So we got a bunch of Army stuff. We had a bat that looked like a shotgun. We had a camouflage ball. We had an Army hat, and, just told them, we're trained for the mission. Let's get after it and let's go. And so they would wear these things, some of them that were wearing it that day. Then we had a big giant watch, like a 4-foot watch, that basically we wrote on it, this is our time. It's our time to win and, to get advance and stuff like that. And then we got to the World Series, I think 3 in a row, then a regional final, then 3 in a row, then a regional final. But we haven't won it since 2007. It's really, really hard. So we got this like almost 6-foot monkey, and we used to carry the monkey to the field. Can we get the monkey off our back? And and it's stuff that just creates a looseness and a fun that gets you to just relax and remember what we're playing for. So this year, I'll give you guys a challenge. We had them in a classroom right before the break, and I bought 30-something eggs. Okay, so what I'm telling you to do, if you don't do it right, it's not going to work. You have to go in front of a garbage can when you're doing it. You're not going to get me in trouble with your parents. Okay, so I had a coach at the front, and I had him ask. I asked the team, what happens? What can we do with this egg? What is it? What can you say about this egg? Give me all different stuff you would say about the egg. Okay, and then we wrote them on the board. So One of them was obviously you could scramble an egg. You could do it sunny side up. You can make an omelet. You can make it with stuff inside. It'll hold it together. You can make it, just the egg whites. It has a whole bunch of things you can do. If you take this egg and just tap it on a pan or on the countertop, it cracks. It just cracks instantly, very, very easily. So I told him, I'm like, we want, our team has to be like this egg. We have to be as versatile as this egg. Okay. So they have to make a decision now what kind of egg they want to be. Okay. So follow me, guys. You're not going to get me in trouble with your parents. So as fragile as this egg is, and as easy as it cracks, and as easy as that is to do, you could take the strongest person in the whole world and they couldn't break that egg in their hand. Okay. So if you take the egg from the top of the egg to the bottom of the egg, I'll put my hand up and hold it here in the palm of your hand and squeeze from end to end. So if your hand gets in the middle of it, it's going to crack it. But from end to end, the strongest person in the world cannot break that egg. And I had the biggest guy in the room come up and do it. And everyone had it in their hand and tried it. So the moral of the story is you could be whatever egg you want. You could be tough as nails where nothing's going to crack you no matter how strong someone thinks they are. They can't crack you. Or you can be really fragile and you can crack under the slightest amount of pressure. So that led into the year where at the end of the game, we would always give out 3 eggs, guys that didn't crack under the pressure, guys that got a game-winning hit or drove in a big RBI. So we'd have these plastic eggs we had to buy. And so each guy would get 3 eggs. We'd hand out 3 eggs at the end of a game. And then you're giving away a lot of my craziness, Jay, but our guys are really into, one of my coaches is really into wrestling, okay? So if you guys look up Ric Flair, okay, he's a legendary wrestler. So we brought this Ric Flair robe, okay? And we had this big ceremony before the first game, and we were in a classroom, and then we played Ric Flair videos, and we talked about having swag, okay? Having swag like Ric Flair has, and just playing with pace and energy and confidence. And so this coach of ours, Dave, he wore the robe in for the first day with the championship belt. We have a beautiful championship belt. And the pitcher of the day who pitched the best, whether it was relief, he closed the game, he was a starter, he gets to walk out with that robe. And the best position player of the day gets the belt, the championship belt. So in a game, if you watch this play, you'll see somebody walking out with a robe on, walking out with a belt, and 3 guys leaving with eggs. So they're just supposed to be reminders for you of what we want you to think, how we want you to feel. We don't want you to feel the pressure. We want to create this pressure in practice and put a lot of, intense pressure during practice. So the game is easy. When we play, we just want to leave you alone. Go play free, free in your mind, clear in your mind, and just go after it. Don't worry about anything else. So they're just little reminders like that.
They're great reminders. It's so great it's team unity.
I wish I could see. They laughing. The kids were the kids laughing.
Yeah, some of them are laughing, and some of them are laughing. It's fun. It's good stuff. It's chemistry. It's absolutely not boring. You get to the ballpark, you get to the yard, and there's other things that are going to go on besides a baseball game. But the mission is to ultimately win that baseball game, and it just prepares you and puts you in a better way. Like lose the anxiety and have some fun with it is always a good thing. Billy, if you could unmute Joe Barros. Joe's got a question for Coach. We're going to let Joe jump on the call. And Joe's a Middletown South guy. And he'll ask Coach Ioviero a question. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So when you're recruiting for high school players, what do you look for in a player?
Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, if I had to give advice to all of you, okay, these are the mistakes that are made. Okay, so pay attention to this part of it. This is about your future. Okay, I'm going to go on as the coach. So is our team. So is every other school, their coaching staff, on and on. So we want to make sure that your experience is the best it can possibly be. So one mistake is, as the player, is every player wants to go one level above where they belong. Okay. So in other words, I'd like to coach the Yankees right now. Okay. But I'm not willing to go into minor league baseball, start in rookie ball. Then I'll be, really old by the time I probably get that chance. And there's a good chance I'm not going to get it. So my first advice to all of you is pick a level or a team that your ability fits, wherever that is. Okay, so that's number one, is make sure the level's where your ability is. Number two, you'll always hear people say, well, I told that guy to go to that school. I told that kid he should go here. Like, that should not be happening, because you're the one in the trenches that has to do the work. So in that respect, when a coach is interested in you, okay, number one, be thankful, because there's millions and millions of kids out there that nobody's interested in, that can't play or aren't going to play. So I think you should have the decency to tell them that either you're not interested in the school or you are going to take the visit. Now think about this concept. You can't have a bad visit. If you went someplace and you didn't like it, it simply comes off your list, but it's giving you chances to see what you like and don't like. Now, a lot of times you'll just make a perception, I don't want to go to that place. Well, man, you step on that campus, they have an incredible field, they have an incredible team, the campus is beautiful, the academics are great. So try to not limit your opportunities that you have, because a lot of kids just narrow it down because somebody told them, don't go here or don't look into there. I think you want to keep a lot of those options open, because you just never know when that right fit. Like, it could be a junior college, it could be, the 3 different divisions. It really, you're looking at a teams in itself as a program versus levels sometimes, because certain teams have more of a tradition, or has a better coaching staff, or has a better academic program. There's so many things that happen. And then getting more specific with your question, the mistake that people make, very big mistake, is they don't take the time either to ask the coach, or maybe the coach doesn't even understand it, but your ability has to be conducive into what the coach is looking for. Okay. And so a lot of kids go to places where the style of play is completely different than that kid's ability, and he just doesn't fit into the mix. So for example, for me, and I'm telling you right now, I see things very differently than a lot of people, because I know in the end, I'm playing baseball like it's a puzzle, and I'm piecing pieces together to put the whole puzzle together. And in the end, it's about winning. Okay. So I want to win. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. And after everything else is done right, that we win. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So for me, how I'm going to view a player is completely different than how other people view players. And I'm not saying, I'm very humble, and I demand that our guys be humble. But if you look at our track record with all the wins and all the accolades that our guys get, there's a method to what we're doing and how we do it. But I want certain things in a player that most people would look at and not see the value in that player. So for me, our team, I always talk about being like an island of misfit toys. Like, other guys wouldn't maybe see the value in what this kid can do and that kid can do. But man, when we piece it all together, just get out of our way, watch us go. We play fast, we play hard, we play with pace, energy, and it puts a lot of pressure on the other team. So first and foremost, if you're a position player, I love fast people. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you. I love, because you can't teach running. Okay. So the 3 tools, the 3 things that I like the most when I'm beginning recruiting is, I want you to defend like your life depends on it. Okay. Like, you're playing defense like your life depends on it. Okay. I want guys that run like they have a rocket, where they just fly around the field. And I want guys that have missiles for arms. Okay. Now think about this concept. If you had those 3 tools in your repertoire every single day, whether it's a good day or bad day, those 3 things are showing up. So we know when we go to bed at night, this guy, when he catches the ball, he's got a really good arm to throw it. If he hits the ball, he's going to get down the line. He's going to steal bases. He's going to score on a hit from second. Guy makes the slightest bobble, he's going to beat it out. That speed plays all day long. And then your arm, I want everybody on the field. A lot of guys say, oh, this guy can go here without a good arm. We want everyone on the field, if possible, to have a good arm. I mean, that's those 3 things show up. And so my recruiting process starts with those 3 things first. And then if I think you can do those things, the next question I have is, how do I get you to first base? So how are you getting to first? Are you a guy that's going to hit the ball to the left side and beat it out? Are you going to be a gap-to-gap hitter? or you're going to knock in runs. Like we have to figure out how you're going to get on base for us and create runs. And that's how I go about it. Where a lot of other guys, coaches, like if I was at a showcase, you'll see that big kid and he hits a towering home run. But then the next pitch is fouled off. He swings and misses. He hits a foul ball to third. Then he hits a weak ground ball. Then there's another shot he sends out there. And if you look at his 10 swings, he only hit 2 balls hard. Well, in my mind, I know the pitching that we're going to face, and that kid is not going to, get the ball and play against a really good pitcher, on a daily basis. He's going to swing and miss at breaking balls and all those kinds of things. So I like short, quick swings that the barrel gets on the ball. So the 3 things we can't teach you when I'm recruiting is these three things. When the ball hits your glove, does it stay closed? Okay, so we could teach you an approach. We could teach you how to get to a ball quicker. We could work on footwork, hands, quickness, all that stuff. But if you can't catch it when it hits your glove, that's not a good sign. So there's been a lot of guys over the years that look really, really pretty out there. They got good movements, good actions, and the ball just keeps not finding their glove. It goes under their glove. They bobble it. That's something we can't teach. Okay, with hitting, when you swing the bat, does the bat hit the ball? This is very trivial stuff, but I'm telling you, this goes a long way. So if you're at bat and you swing it in your first at bat and you pop up to third, you swung the bat, you hit the ball. That's a very big deal versus swinging and missing and swinging and missing. So there could be a kid that misses 2 breaking balls by a mile, and then the guy throws a fastball and he hits a double. Well, in my mind, that at our level, the kid's going to keep throwing those curveballs, and that kid's not going to strike out. He's not going to have a chance to get that hit like he would in high school. So I like guys when they swing it, the ball hits the bat. So you could ground out, pop, all that kind of stuff. And I like shorter swings where the bat stays in the zone for a long time, and you can get the barrel on the ball. That's your hand-eye coordination. We could teach you, all kinds of hitting methods and techniques, and you could see all the video you want. But when you swing the bat, we can't make the barrel go on the ball if your eyes and hands don't do it on its own. That's your innate ability to do something with your hand-eye coordination. So me personally, for the position players, I'm looking for you. Do you catch it? And when you swing, does the ball get on the barrel? And then for the pitchers, we want to see guys that could simply throw strikes. I mean, we're really good with pitchers. We've developed a lot of pitchers, but we can help you only to a certain point. When that ball's getting ready to leave your fingers, do you have a feel for where it's supposed to be let go to get into the strike zone? Because we can't teach you how to throw strikes sometimes if you don't know where you're releasing the ball at the very last second of that split second of that delivery. So now if I'm telling you this and I'm explaining this to you on your recruiting trip, I mean, I would have kids up that I'm recruiting that can do these things most of the time, but that's where my philosophy would start, where someone else's could be completely different. They're going to take the 9 best hitters and they're going to put them in every position that they can till they fill the lineup, and they just want that kind of a lineup. They're going to swing and miss a lot. They're going to play slower. They're going to give up free base runners. They're going to make some errors. I don't want to play like that. I want to play where the score is very low all day long, where we're catching the ball. We're not making errors. We're not walking people. We're not hitting batters. And I want the offense to be able to have to get so many hits to get runs where it's very, very hard to score runs that way. How the big innings happen is you have walks, you have a hit batter, you make an error. There's one little double, and then 3 runs come in, and now we have to get 4 runs to get ahead of you. So my recruiting philosophy is different than a lot of them. So my point is you would want to spend time watching the team play and practice and talking to the coach on what his philosophy is. If he says, well, if you could hit, we'll find a spot, you'll have an idea what kind of coach that is. For me, you cannot get on the field unless you can play defense, because you're just going to be a liability and allow the other team more base runners to score more runs. So that's where I think you guys make a mistake. You don't put yourselves in position where you're putting yourself where it aligns with that coach's thinking and his philosophy on how he wants to play. So if that helps you a little bit. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe. That's a really good question. Thank you, Neil. We're going to unmute Aiden. Aiden Sheen's going to come on. Go ahead, Aiden. Nice glasses, buddy. You look good with those glasses on. Professor Sheen.
Thank you. Coach, what is like the number one thing like you hope that your guys are doing at home right now?
Okay, so in my life, this is just me. Okay, I'm very, very religious. So my religion, my family, baseball, working out, and I'm very big into nutrition. Okay, I work out and eat really, really clean. Like my life depends on it. So those are the order of things that I like to live by, and I instill that in them. I lead by example. When our team works out, I work out with them. I don't just sit there and watch and blow a whistle. I believe like in how the Army does it. The guy in the front's got to be doing the same stuff as everyone else. So I like to be condescending with you guys and push you, and I, I'll just say things for no reason. I'll just be like, Aiden, you just look like you're going to be lazy today and you didn't come to work, and you just got there, like, or you're lifting and I'm like, wait a second, you lifted 10 pounds more last week, you're tired, right? And I want to play in your mind, and I want to get in your head where I want you to know somebody else in this country is doing something. Okay, so like it goes back to that passion that I've said. You got to have passion for what you do, and you got to love it. Okay, so if you're into sports and you're into working out, because that's very, very important to keeping your body in shape, and eating and sleeping right are just as important, so you cannot get hurt, keep your immune system high, keep your inflammation low, then I would hope that we trained you to be doing stuff that you can do at home and not taking it off. So in other words, if you're someone who drags and like you got to be forced to the weight room and forced to, you know, practice, and like you may not have the passion that you think you do for this game. So even though we're stuck at home, there's a million things that you're able to do. So I know if you guys had like a week, like if everyone had just 1 week to get the stuff they needed, you'd have batting tees and a tee net and a bucket of balls in your yard, and you'd be able to do stuff. But there's still, I mean, like I said, I'm out there with my kids doing stuff all day long. So, I'm sure you have an area you can get to, whether you're an infielder or outfielder, and work on simply just fielding a ball on a daily basis in some capacity, moving your feet, all different types of balls. Um, you have to have a place to throw, whether it's into a fence, a net. So you got to keep your arm strength where it needs to be. Working out, I know it's tough if you don't have equipment home, but there's a lot of body weight exercises. If you go on some of these websites who do, like those insanity kind of workouts where you're moving all the time for your whole body system's working, cardiovascular, anaerobic, aerobic. Like you can't just sit here for the next 3 months and just expect this to end and then you guys be ready. So I know the stuff that we've gone over with our guys over the course of the year, and they're doing a lot of stuff like that as much as they possibly can. I trust them to be doing it. And I get a lot of texts saying, hey, I just got done doing this. And they're coming up with ways like, you guys have ever, I'm sure you heard of the TRX system, which is basically that strap system with handles on it. If you had that at your disposal right now and you had that at your house, you could put that in the doorway. You can put it in your yard, clip it to a fence, to a swing set if you have that. And you can get an incredible workout with that little thing. It's 2 handles and a strap, and you would be amazed at the amount of exercises that you can do. We use that we have 6 of them at our place. We use that all the time. So you have to be innovative, and you got to stay motivated, and you got to want to do stuff to get better. I know you're not going to get live pitching and things like that, but you can go in front of the mirror and you can work on your rhythm and your timing and your swing. You got to have a place to swing the bat. You could have someone pretend like they're going to throw to you, and you're working on getting the release point down. And anything you could think of that would be doing something versus nothing, I would think is better than just sitting around right now. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Neil, I'm gonna hand over a question to New York. One of our guys who's in Staten Island. So, Anthony, you should be on the call. Anthony, go ahead. You got something for Coach?
Yeah. Do you have one main location where you recruit, or are you open to recruiting anywhere?
All right, Anthony. I'm originally from Brooklyn. I just came from Staten Island. My grandparents live in Richmond Town, so I know what you're going through over there. To be honest with you, you guys are too young. There used to be this TV show. Coach Blackwell knows it. It was called Cheers, and the beginning part of the show, it was a song, and it said, "You want to go where everybody knows your name when they're always glad you came." So obviously, you like to be in areas that you're comfortable with, that you know a lot of the coaches, and you got access to people and you trust their opinions and stuff like that. What has been going on with the travel ball has made it so much easier for a lot of people because you guys actually, you'll play in all the different tournaments and you'll go to different spots. And there's so many of you in the same spot where it doesn't really matter where we have to go left and right and up and down like we used to in the past. You could show up at Diamond Nation or at Richmond County or at some of the tournament sites. And when you see these players, they're from all over. So I don't necessarily operate out of one place, but I seem to like to take kids out of programs that I know the coach real well, where they can tell you about what kind of kid he is. Because something we haven't touched on is, in baseball you have those 5 tools, right? So you have, can you hit with power, can you run, catch, and throw, right? So those are things that are called measurables. So when you go out to play, the coach can measure that stuff a lot of time. We could, they put the stopwatch on you when you run. They get the exit speeds now off the bat when you hit. They can get the velocity when you throw. All those things are visual. So I really want to know a lot about your intangibles, and we call them separators. Like, what separates you from the next 10 kids? And that's going to be the difference when things get hard in that game and it's freezing out and it's windy or it's raining and I got you out there. Who can mentally be tough enough to play and who can't? So a lot of times your coaches, like Coach Blackwell, you guys probably don't even know, but has been around the block and coached so many people in his life and done so many things in this game and so many different college programs, professional players. Like, his opinion matters because I know he's been through these battles and wars and he's been in the trenches. So, like, you guys have no idea how lucky you are to have someone like him who is your coach right now, and running your organization, because most guys don't get something like that. So if I was to call him and say, okay, when you practice every day, does Anthony run on and off the field? Do you have to beg him to go get the balls after you're done shagging? Does he get tired if it's a 2 or 3 hour practice? Like, all those types of things I want to know about because they equal something. Okay, so separators, this kid has heart. He has brains. He's very smart. This kid has a perseverance and a desire to play, a passion. He loves the game. Or he might, you have all the bad adjectives. This kid drags all the time. He just, you can't get him to go when he don't want to go. He's always tired. He doesn't want to hustle. Like, I need to know those things because I know the time that it takes to get through a practice and a game in our season and the off season. So we want guys with that passion. And so I really believe a lot of coaches make mistakes because they don't spend the time to talk to the coaches who coach these teams sometimes, or even your high school coaches. Like, I'll spend a lot of time asking the high school coach, like, just tell me your opinion, what he thinks about this guy. And I just want to know everything I can about a person. So it's not more about areas. It's more about just getting kids that you're comfortable in places of where they're coming from. Because it's just so important. Once you tie yourself up with us and us with you, we're together now, and I got to get the most out of you. You want to get the most out of me. We want to get the most out of our team, and we just don't have a lot of time for guys that drag the group down. So, if you look at Coach Jay, he's been like, I got a quick story. Jay, would they know who Coach Hill is or no?
Yeah, a good amount of guys on the call would know Coach Hill and who Coach Hill is, and may he rest in peace. And he was so close to both of us. But we wore last spring. We wore on the sleeve of the jersey an FH inside a diamond, for Moose. So guys do know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So he was my college coach, and that was the best decision I made. It wasn't the school I picked, to be honest with you. It was the person I got to be around on a daily basis and watch him work, and his desire, his passion. Just watching him work a camp, it would be 1,000 degrees, and he would be going all day long, and energy like. And me and Coach Jay would be there working along, and you had to keep up with this 60-year-old man, 65-year-old man, 70-year-old, and it went on and on. The energy never stopped, and that's a passion that he had. So his brother was the coach of the Orlando Magic when they had Shaquille O'Neal, they had Penny Hardaway, and he coached a bunch of other NBA teams, the Nets. He coached the Atlanta Hawks. His son has been at 15 different colleges. It's just a coaching family. And so to me, that's my man. I mean, that's the guy that's how I became a coach, is just watching him have the passion. And the next best thing to playing is being part of the action and coaching. Okay. So Coach Hill was getting older, and he had a bunch of strokes, and they called them TIAs. They're little mini strokes that take a lot out of you, And I wanted him with me at Kane because I wanted to control, the day for him. Like, he might get sick or he might get tired. I wanted to be able to make him take a break and tell him when to stay home today. It's a little cold. And I was very close with his family, on and on. So this man was the toughest, one of the top 3 toughest men I've ever met, mentally, physically, just a very tough man. So I know how he was 25 years ago, 15 years ago, on and on. But our players didn't see that. They used to see a guy that could barely walk, that was slurring his words, and it was hard for me because they didn't know the man that I knew my whole life. And Jay would know exactly what I'm talking about. So one day, okay, out of nowhere, one of our guys, we're like 3/4 of the way through the season, turns around and said, "Coach, you're not going to believe this. I just did a Wikipedia search, and Fred Hill has his own Wikipedia page." And like, the kid was in shock. Like in other words, that gave him the credibility that they got to read his entire life story and all the places he coached and all the major leaguers and all about his brother, his son. And like, I'm not going to use the words I used to my player, but I'm like, you SOB, basically, like, of course you think, you guys don't know who this guy is. This guy, has been around for a long time. He's got credibility like you can't believe. And so I'll even give like the same credibility to Coach Jay. Like, he's been at, all these different colleges, and so he's guiding you and trying to help you. And a lot of times, I don't know how he is individually with you, but you need to trust what he says because he's seen every level of baseball. He's been around it. He knows what your ability's like. He knows your personality. He knows a million of these coaches. And I think he can get you on the right track of like where the fit is for you in the big scheme of things. And you're very lucky to just have a guy that has that experience. And so, like, if you Wikipedia, I don't know if Jay has a Wikipedia page. I don't, but if you Google him and see all the places he's been, you might be like, holy cow, you did all this stuff already. And so, like, don't neglect the people that are closest to you. I get very, very angry. Okay. Very angry with you, how you are with your parents. Cause I tell you this all the time. Your parents love you more than any people on the planet. Okay. There's not going to be 2 people in your life that are going to go to bat for you more than your own family. So I had to tell my neighbor this, who was going through this with his kids. Like, when your kids are young, your parents are like Superman and Superwoman. Right now, my kids think I'm the best thing in the whole world, the strongest person, on and on. And then there's going to be a time when they're just going to kind of push me away. Like, it's embarrassing to have, mommy and daddy at practice or, at the school or so. And you go through a period of life where, like, it's embarrassing to have your parents around, and you don't want them around you, if they're at the games, and like, and then you're going to, you remember the day I said this to you, you're going to hit like 18, 19, freshman, sophomore year. And all of a sudden, when you're a junior and senior, you're going to realize I got a little bit of time left, and all the money they paid for school and for your equipment and for the stuff that you have and all the traveling they did. And it's going to transform, and it's going to completely switch back to how it was when you were young. And you're going to respect the hell out of them because of what they did for you in your life. And I don't want that time to go by just because it takes that process. I want you to understand now how important your parents are. And then I put the coach right after that, because your coach has your best interest at heart. And a lot of times you neglect the fact because he didn't tell you what you wanted to hear or give you everything you wanted at the time you wanted it. Like, that guy's putting a lot of time in with you. They need to have your respect back, and you need to know that they have your best interest at heart. So I just wanted to throw that out there with you, because I went through that with Coach Hill, where a lot of kids didn't know who that was. You may go through that with your coaches now. And we know the experiences you're going to have. We know the mistakes you're going to make. And we just try our ass off, excuse my language, for you not to make those mistakes, because we know, what's ahead of you. And we're just trying to get you to buy in. So in my opinion, the quicker you buy in and believe and have that faith, the better off you're going to be, trusting the people who love you the most and have your very best interests at heart. So sorry about that, Jay, that ramble.
Neil, that's great, though. It's not a ramble. It's honest, very honest. It's real life. Thank you for the kind words, because they are. It's special and kind words. And, how close Fred Hill is, because he's like not on this earth. He's not with us right now, but he is with us. How close he is to us. And, for me, very fortunate to be around so many good baseball people in my lifetime, little life. Hopefully I got a lot more left, but to be around so many great people and, Fred Hill, Mike Shepard of Seton Hall, Eddie Lyons, Eddie Lyons, Jack Nagy, right? Those four guys, I did a nice social media post with the four of them on our Jersey Giants pages with those four guys. But those are four guys who are older than me, who were mentors, all four of them in their own way, that helped me along the way to get to, where I am now. And of course, getting to know you, I mean, it's a long time now. And I saw you play. I didn't know you then, but I saw you play high school basketball, high school baseball at St. John Vianney in Homedale. I happened to be on vacation in Cape Cod when you pitched and played in Cape Cod at Orleans, right? And
Chat.
yes, Chatham was playing at Orleans that night.
Yep. 4th of July, maybe. Yep.
Yeah. It was, I want to say summer, probably 94, maybe, or 93 summer. Three, right? 93 summer. So that goes back many years, right? To tease you a little bit, I, of course, remember high school basketball, like I said, and T.J. O'Donnell just scoring at will on you. And Scotty Simpson, of course, running around the court at Monmouth Regional. A lot of years has gone by, But like I tell these guys, baseball is close-knit, where guys are a family, and they stick together. And it's going to be a lot of years that go by, and these guys are going to remember the guys that they played on their teams with. On Monday, I want to say Monday night we're going to do it. It's either going to be Monday night or Tuesday night. The first Giants team, when I kind of started this whole thing, goes back a few years ago. Danny Chisano, who was with you. So I hope Danny's doing well right now. I sent him a text, but I didn't get any reply back last week, I want to say, or the week before. But I hope he's doing well. And Danny was a former Jersey Giant with us. So his guys he played with, those guys are coming on,
Yep.
going to have their own session, like alumni day, for these guys, and give them a little idea of what their experiences have been getting to college, whether they're still playing on a college baseball team or just attending college, sharing a little bit of what goes on for a 21-year-old, But this has been great. I'm not sure if any of my other guys have a question. If anybody else has a question, you could shoot it in the chat or unmute your mic and let us know. But we've had you on the phone for an hour, Neil. It's been great. It's been great. I don't know if
I can go on. Yeah, I can do this all day long. It's and I can't emphasize it enough. It's your future, guys. Like, you got to take the time to go on your visits, invest with, the people that are interested in you. You got to ask questions. Like, when I get done with my whole, let me say this to you real quick. When I do a recruiting thing with our recruits, I don't want it to just be about Kane. I want it to be about, the whole goal is, how do you go about the process of choosing a school? So when I speak in front of people, I can do this for like an hour and a half, step by step. And if you need me to come on and do a recruiting thing, that's no problem at another time. But it's a step-by-step process on how you eventually eliminate schools or keep schools on, and then questions you got to ask that are so important to you, because it's your future. And you don't want to be going to school, and then the worst thing in the world is me looking you in the face and telling you all these things, and then you come back in the fall as a freshman and you go, wait a second, you said we had study hall, you said we worked out, you said you did workouts with us, you said, and it's completely different. That's a fraud, that's a lie. I'd have to remember that, and how could you ever have trust and faith in me again? And I think a lot of times you're going to see that coaches, they're going to try to get you to laugh and have a good time, and it's one big happy joke, time. That's a ploy that they use to try to get you comfortable and all that kind of stuff. I actually will probably lose some kids, because I'm going to tell you how it is. I want you to know the reality of what your life is like playing for us. I'll go month to month for the entire year, a whole year, including the summer, of what it's going to take, how it's going to be. And I tell you straight to your face, a coach, I don't want to be your best friend. Okay. You're going to have 30 best friends within 2 weeks of being on the team. What you're looking for as a coach is, you're looking for a role model. You're looking for a mentor. Okay. You're looking for somebody when things get rough. Think of a real bad problem that you have in your life. It's a secret and you don't want anyone to know because you're embarrassed. You're having problems at home or it's a girlfriend, whatever the case may be. But you can go see this person and know that it's going to stay with them. They're going to have your best interests at heart. You're going to get great advice. That's what a coach is. Okay, teaching you baseball is a joke to me, right? Jay, teaching you baseball is a joke. We've been doing this our whole entire life. It's that easy for us. It's the other stuff that makes the coach the holistic package that's going to listen to you when it's time. Like I'm not trying to, don't get me wrong here. This Zoom stuff is taking off like crazy, right? So everyone's on Zoom and they're doing all this stuff. I actually took the time 2 weeks ago from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I made a phone call to every single player and every recruit. That took me a total of 10 hours. So I would have loved to have a quick Zoom for 10 minutes, 30 minutes and seen everybody. But it was important to me that I knew what was going on with their families, their friends, whatever was going on in their life, their academics, what they're doing. And it took 10 hours. That's a long time. And I had to start after I get my kids to bed at like 9 o'clock. So I was on the phone 9 of 11 for like 5 days straight. And then I called all our recruits and told them, ask them how they were doing, their families, on and on. Like that just doesn't happen. It's just much easier to send the text message, or like you're looking for a coach that can be everything to you. We owe it to you because we're asking you to give us so much and we need to give it back to you. So finishing up with this is don't be afraid to ask some tough questions because you're going to find the answer out one way or the other. Like if a coach says to you, you're going to come in here and play, okay? In my opinion, it's one of two things. Either he's lying to your face or the team is that bad and you're that much better than everyone he has that he could really say that to you. And my question back to you is how much you think you're going to win if you're the very best player going in there right away as a freshman. So if you're going to go to a winning program that has tradition and has a lot of good players, you may not play right away. Can you live with that? There's another place where you can go and maybe start right away, and now you're not going to win, and you're going to be miserable. You're never making the playoffs. You're not in the conference tournament, no chance at the regionals. Are you going to be happy with that? None of it is right or wrong. It's what you can handle and tolerate. And so my point is the mistake that's made is you guys don't find out what the coach thinks of you, how he sees you fitting into this mix. So at the end of the conversation, when I'm done, I talk for, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes straight. I'm going through, the campus, the academics, how the dining facilities are, all, what your life is going to be like, training, playing, all this kind of stuff. And then I tell you a couple of things. I say, I want you to make me squirm right now. I want you to ask me questions that are going to put me on the spot. Make it hard. Don't hold back. And a lot of times they say, no, you really covered a lot of stuff, but I want tough questions. I don't want you to be embarrassed to asking me like, hey, where do you see me fitting in? Or where do I play? Where do you see me playing? Or how much time am I going to get? Or all those kind of things. So then I go through a scenario. So I want you guys to play this scenario out. I wish I could see all of you at the same time. I always ask everybody, what do you have at your house? PlayStation, Xbox, or the Wii? And I've never gotten a kid or anybody that didn't have one of them. Sometimes you have 2 or 3. You guys can still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So when you buy that brand new game and it's $75 and you put that game in that system and you start playing, right away, you can't even clear the first board. Everything's going so fast. You're dying right away. You're so mad. You keep trying and trying, and it's just you don't know what's going on. And it's so fast that you can't keep up. Okay, so now you have 2 choices. You either take this video game and you don't play it anymore, which a kid your age is not doing, or you're going to invest 4 to 6 hours a day in this game until you get this figured out. And ironically, after playing this much for just a couple of days, you're winning the whole game. You're beating every level you can, and you're completing the whole game. You don't even want to play anymore after a while. It's too easy. So what's the next step? You go ask mom and dad for $75 more to go buy another game. Okay? That scenario I just played out for you is going to be your life when you get to college. When you first get there, it's going to be so fast. Your life's going to be moving fast. Where do I go to campus? How do I get here? He just put these plays on. What's the code with these new signs? What's happening? and everything's going to frazzle your mind. My job is to do that to you and get it sped up and speed it up fast. Your job, and then my other job is to get it slowed down. So I tell you, you're ready to play when it slows down in your mind and it's very calm for you, and you can go do these things without even thinking about it. Now, I ask back to you is how long you think that's going to take? And that's where it's hard to get an answer. So for the freshmen that usually get a chance to play, like we have a boy from Freehold right now who plays the middle infield. He walked in and everything was slow. He learned it. He made his mistakes. He didn't keep making mistakes. He asked a million questions. Everything became slow. By game 3, he was our starting, second baseman and beat out a lot of guys and didn't come out of the lineup the rest of the time because he just got going and he just understood what was going on. Now you might get somebody that's a junior that just didn't get the system and the signs and what they have to do. And so you got to be leery of someone that tells you you're going to play right away, because there could be a transfer that shows up that's way better than you that you didn't even know about that happens. There could be, just because you went in as a freshman and you maybe played, there could be another kid coming in the next year. So it's always survival of the fittest. Who's the next best guy? My job is to replace you and try to get guys that are better to keep the team getting better and better. Your job is to keep whoever's behind you behind. And so you got to ask some tough questions, and you got to find out what the coach thinks of you, how he sees you fitting in. So now when I get to this level of recruiting, and I've spoken to you the whole time, and I went through the video game scenario and telling you how your life's going to be, now my job is to tell you how I see you fitting into what we do. And then after I give you that answer, if you have any hard questions, you need to ask them. But then at that point, that's when we start to figure out if this is going to be a fit for you, how I tell you how you're going to fit in. So I might tell you, listen, I could see you, really fitting in here. Your defensive skills are where they need to be. You play really fast. I like that. And then I want to tell you what we have on the team. I don't want to hold it back and lie, because you're going to look on the website and find it out. You're going to look at the games when they come. I want you to know the grade levels of what these kids are. And I think it's important for you to show up at practice and games and compare yourself to what they have and say, you know what, that kid's starting right now. I'm way better than him right now as a senior in high school. Or you know what, man, that kid's the best player on the field. He's only a sophomore. If I come here, I might not play for 2 years. Like, this is setting up your future, and you need to have all this stuff figured out. So that's why as soon as a kid transfers, like I'll get someone that wants to transfer in, and they come and see me, and the first thing they do is they blame the coach. And I'll say, stop. I don't want to hear that. I said, you picked the school. It was your job to find this stuff out and investigate and keep learning. And like, you have Coach Blackwell who could tell you about every single coach in New Jersey at the college level. How many human beings can do that right now? If you made a phone call, say, what kind of personality does this guy have? Is he too laid back? Does this guy scream a lot? Is this guy too intense for me? He could tell you almost about every single one. So use those people at your disposal, ask the tough questions, put the coaches on the spot, and get the answers you need to get so you can make the best decision for yourself, because it's all about your experience, and you want it to be absolutely awesome at the end, where you left the place, you were around great people, you had a chance to play, you had a chance to win, play in big games, and that coach is available for you the rest of your life. You're going to invite him to your wedding. You're going to call him if something's bad. All those types of things are the things that a coach is supposed to be. So that's what I just wanted to leave you with. Sorry, Jay, I know that was long, but
That's all right. It's great. It's very informative. Very informative. And, for these guys, a bunch of them are young that are on the call. We have some high school guys who are sophomores, juniors, and then a bunch of young guys. And, handling adversity is something new to a lot of them. And we're talking about handling adversity in athletics. There's so many things that they have to be able to handle just in life. So what a great call. Thank you so much, Neil. It's been great. Are you buckling up? We want to make sure you're safe driving right now.
yeah, I got to get to the back to my kids. I'm going to play something with them before we eat. And just want to say, God bless, guys. Please take this stuff serious and be very, very safe. I have a friend that played professional baseball. Is a personal trainer in New York, very healthy guy. He was just on Fox News on Saturday. He just got on Fox News today on Hannity at 3:30. He got a bad case of this as a young guy. So don't think you're invincible. Take it serious. We're going to work our way out of it. The Lord's going to get us right. and then we'll be back at it. So, Jay, if you need me to do this for whatever reason, any topic, I'd love it, because I know if I just help one of you out today and influence you in any way, that it was worth all the time. So God bless you guys. Stay well, and make sure you love Jay. He's an awesome guy. He's one of my best friends.
Thank you so much, and I love you too, pal. And look what shirt I'm wearing. I know you can see it on here. So you, I wore this for you. All right, but Billy, unmute the guys. Guys, you can say goodbye to Coach and everything. Go ahead, fellas.
Bye, Coach. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Coach.
See you later.
Thank you, Coach.